I really want to move this channel in the direction that helps you guys out the most. So today, I have 3 ways to help you find a mentor, and most importantly, the way to get them to actually take you seriously. There's a very set strategy that's worked for me very well and helped me get in contact with 7, 8-figure sellers and befriend them. That just wouldn't have worked if I didn't apply this. So first place you can find mentors is by going to real events. The most important one is meetups. If you live in a town with 1, 2, 3 million people, chances are very well high that you have meetups every month that entrepreneurs get together and just hang out and talk business. Whether this is real estate or e-commerce, people are getting together. And if you want to be very strategic, you should just start your own. See what happens. I highly recommend you get up on meetup.com and look for some meetups there, and also just Google it. There's a lot of things that aren't on the Meetup app that you'll find just by Googling. Especially if you're into real estate, there are meetups in even very small cities. My hometown is about 100,000 people, but even still, there are multiple real estate meetups there that I've been to. And just being around entrepreneurs alone is going to help you out a lot. You never know who you could meet. At one of these meetups here in LA, I met a business partner who was doing 7 figures a year on Amazon. And I learned a ton from hanging out with him, having sit next to me in my house, spending days at a time with this guy, flying places, going on a cruise together. That kind of knowledge from having a guy doing $3 million a year sitting next to me and giving me advice on my products and talking business, that's stuff that money really can't buy unless you're absolutely loaded. So you can also go to conferences. I recently, last year, went to 2 big conferences. One of them was 10X GrowthCon, and I got to meet a lot of people there. And when I went there, I went with the mindset, I am not here to learn, I'm here to meet people. So I constantly, and it's so easy at these events because everybody wants to meet people. I went out to dinner every single night with a new group of people. 7, 8 people I met every single night. I met $1 million Shopify sellers. I met people doing millions of dollars in real estate and was able to add them to my Rolodex and make some of them friends, add them on Facebook. These conferences typically are going to cost you $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 after you pay for everything. But once you start making some money in your business, you need to start investing in your education. This is the best investment you can possibly make. Well, it seems very tempting to take that first 5 or 10 grand and just start spending it on stuff you want to buy, go out and put a down payment on that new car. What makes people rich is taking that first few $1,000s and investing in it and learning more. So it's going to help you in the short term. You're going to be broke, but in the long term, you're going to be so much faster to get to 7 figures where you really want to be. Now, the second place you can find mentors, and this is the most underrated one ever, period, is simply by learning from those, and you can learn from people that you never would ever have access to any other way with this strategy. And that's just by reading books. There are people, think of this, people spend 40, 50 years of their life learning business principles, learning how to be successful and creating massive fortunes. And then they spend a couple years of their time sitting down and writing a book, taking 40 years of knowledge, putting it into 200 pages for you to learn from. Some of the wealthiest people in the world are doing this, the most successful, and yet you're not reading these books. You're not learning from them. You're not taking experiences from them. When I started, before I had any money, back when I couldn't spend $7 on a burrito without knowing that I was borrowing more money from the government via student loans. At that point, I went to the library and spent semester after semester reading as many books as I could. I would go to the library and bring back stacks of books this tall, and I would read. One semester, I read 2, maybe 3 books a week, every week. At that point, I was really excited about real estate, and the stack of real estate books I read was probably 3 times as tall during that semester. It was a crazy amount of reading. But because of all that, reading I did, I have foundations of business and concepts and a lot of case studies that just nobody my age has. Take, for example, the guy who started KFC. Did you know? I mean, he became incredibly wealthy, but he actually had launched 7 or 8 businesses before he started KFC, and each one after another, failed and failed and failed. And he never gave up. And hopefully that never happens to me, that length of time. It hasn't. But I learned the experience that I need to, no matter what happens, keep pushing forward. And it's been so important because I don't have entire businesses fail, but run into issues every single day that I've got to work out. So please get yourself an app like Audible on your phone, and you can just listen to these books anywhere. I listen to them walking to go down to the smoothie shop every day to get my green smoothie. I listen to them in the car when I'm driving around or in the airplane when I'm flying. And it takes a while. You don't see results from this right away, but I promise you're going to be far ahead. The average millionaire reads a book a week. And if you're not reading a book a week, it probably says something about where you're going. I don't read a book a week anymore, but I used to read even more than that. Warren Buffett, when he started, he read, and he'll tell you this, 8 hours a day, every day. He had a full-time job just reading books, a lot of it on investing. And is it any wonder he became one of the world's most successful investors of all time? No, because he had more knowledge than anybody else. That's just the amount of books he read in a year. I can't even believe it. And even today, he spends a lot of his time reading, and that's how he's become so rich. So the third way that you can find mentors is by paying to play. This isn't my favorite way to do it, but if you've got a lot of money to work with, you can pay to have somebody to be your mentor. There's a lot of people out there. Please make sure you vet them and make sure they're actually good. But the reason I put this one in here is not so you guys go spend all your money on mentors. It'd be much better for you to spend your money on learning the actual thing yourself. Don't go spend 20 grand on somebody to help you learn real estate. Go spend that 20 grand down and buy yourself a $100,000 property. You will learn a lot more than with some stupid mentor. But again, when you start getting rich and you start making money, this is when you need to start investing in people that you can pay to play, because some mentors, the most successful ones, it is nigh impossible to just meet them and befriend them and get their knowledge that way. You're going to have to pay to play, but that's where the 7 and 8 figure incomes come from, that kind of mentorship. So here's the tip to get these mentors to take you successfully. And this is how I get 7, 8 figure sellers to actually take some interest in me and befriend them and be able to call some of them up and hey man, I got a question for you, or what do you think of this? I mean, how many millionaires do you have in your phone? And the reason is probably this. Either you're not going out and meeting enough people. Remember, mentorship is building a relationship. It's not a business transaction. You are building a relationship with somebody. It's either that or you're not impressive enough. If I had gone to these events and met people, just telling them that I hoped one day to start a business, that I had this plan and I was so ready and gung-ho, none of them would have taken me seriously. I would have brushed me off to the side with the hundreds and thousands of other people that have said the same thing to them. I personally have hundreds of people a year ask me for mentorship, but I can't give it to them all. And the ones that do get it have already shown some effort. Because I came to the table already with an established YouTube channel, already with products live, I was able to show them I am here. I'm the real deal. You're only going to find 3 or 4 other people this year that are going to bring you this to the table. And they were so much more willing to work with me. The reason you can't get Bill Gates to mentor you is because he has $1 billion business. He's busy mentoring people who also have $1 billion businesses, just not as nice as his is. And then those people spend time mentoring people with $100 million businesses. And then they mentor people with $1 million businesses. And who mentors the people at the bottom with absolutely nothing? generally just people who are right above them with almost absolutely nothing. You don't have to be rich, but you need to take action and show that you're doing something. Even just being able to say that in the last year you've read a stack of books this deep about real estate and you're ready to go, and you've looked at 20 properties in the last 3 months, even though you can't afford to buy any of them. That is going to get people, when you meet the right person, and you're not going to meet them every day, but it's going to get them a lot more interested in taking you seriously and bringing you to the table and showing you their secrets, because they're just not interested in people who haven't put out any effort yet and showing that they're in this to win. They're going to do whatever it takes, and they're just going to crush it. So for those of you who can't find a mentor right now, that's okay. Rely on books first and foremost. There's so much good knowledge from that. If you need to, spend a few $100s and pay to play. If you need a course, or if you need whatever you need, get that. I hate saying that because then it sounds like I'm trying to sell my course, and that's not what these videos are about. Okay, but most importantly, you need to set yourself up to be impressive. One of the biggest lessons I learned in 2018 was be impressive. So when one time you get that opportunity, you can't let it pass you up. You're not going to get the opportunity to meet that guy who's 40 years ahead of you, who's in the mind space that he's willing to take you on, willing to be friends with you, and then one day teach you a lot of the stuff he knows. You're only going to get a couple of those incredible opportunities a year or possibly a lifetime. And so if you come to the table with nothing to bring, nothing to show them, you're going to blow it. You're going to blow that massive opportunity that you were given. You're going to blow it. Even if you just get really good at one thing, I might get really good at social media or Facebook ads, and I might only be doing a few $1,000s here and there with that. But to the guy who's doing $3 million a year on his business, but he knows absolutely nothing about social media or Facebook ads and wants to leverage that, now you have something to bring to the table, even though you still, financially wise, are a nobody. But you still have value to bring, and that's going to get you to the seat of the table, and that's what I want you guys to get out of this video. So if you want to see some more videos about the business I'm in, Amazon, I'm going to put a link to that here. And more importantly, just please go read some books. Here's my top 3 book recommendations of all time, the ones that have actually changed my life. Of the hundreds of books I've read, these are the ones that changed who I've become. Because a lot of books, you learn some lessons, but they don't really go anywhere.